Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Mike.
I'm Nate, and we're once again joined with our good friend, Santa Claus.
Today's Saintly Sunday, and we're bringing you more Santa Claus as a reminder that Christmas is not a day. Christmas is a whole season. And so, here's a few more stories of how Santa is Santa to the other children.
I once was doing one in a school where it was put on by a charity that raises money for other charities. And they had gotten a bunch of toys free. And they had a big pile of toys there, different age groups, different trucks, dolls, whatever. And if you came and you got a picture with Santa, not only did you get the picture, thank you Best Buy, by the way, they provided the equipment and the film and everything else.
Oh, fantastic.
And the people to run it. You would get that picture instantly printed, and then you would get one of the toys. So a little girl, mom comes up to the little girl, and she says, she's never sat on Santa's lap before, and she's mentally challenged. In her case, she happened to be autistic. And but I'm going to try. And so she, paid her $5. And when I recognized the aspects of it, the certain characteristics of the way they move and acted that, and I realized that it was probably autism. And I've had training for working with autistic children, so I held my hand out carefully, slowly, gently, no fast movements, no loud noises. And she looked at me, and I made, come on. And so she slowly walked over, and she took my hand, and then I indicated, sit here. And she sat down, and I let her, because they're very tactile, and they like to feel things, and I let her touch my fur and that, and soft. And and all the time, Mom's got a commentary right in the background. She's walking over to him, and when she said, she's sitting on his knee, and then she started giggling, and Mom says, she's actually laughing, and I said, okay. In this one, it's because my leg is slippery because of the fur and that. She's sliding down my leg. She thinks it's funny. But they got the picture. They took the picture and everything, and because of how many people were doing that, it was about an hour from the time you took the picture to you actually got the picture. And so I went on about the day, and they came back an hour later, and the picture had not come out. And Mom was devastated. And she says, we'll never get that picture again. But see, now I'm her friend. And I held her hand out, and I looked at my knee. She ran right over and hopped onto my knee, and the picture came out perfect.
There we go. Oh, good
I
stuff.
I also do the special needs scouts. These scouts are age 12 to 80. And I did this for many years. I'm on my 5th year now, I think, with them. And they are just so beautiful, so pure, so innocent. And in the beginning, they would come and they would sit next to me, and they'd get the picture, and it was, oh, Santa this and Santa that. But I noticed in the 4th year, and again in the 5th year, they weren't sitting next to me. They were sitting next to me. I was part of their world.
Fantastic.
And and I get hugs, and we dance, because they always have a DJ at their little banquet. And I used to do hospice. I used to go to all the hospice around here. And I went into one, and the woman had just finished being fed, and she was in what they call end stages. She was going to die within 2 weeks. She knew it. Everybody knew it. Okay. And I sat down next to her because when I would visit people, I always wanted to be eyes on eyes, at the same level. And she just looked at me. And I've been through the hospice training, so I know how to recognize the signs of persons in pain, even if they can't communicate. And she didn't appear to be in pain, but she just looked at me. And I said, are you okay? Do you hurt anywhere? And she said, why are you here? And I said, well, Santa visits at this time of year. No, why are you in this room? I said, because I thought you would like a visit from Santa. And she started to cry. And she said, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me in a long time. Another time I went into hospice, and that particular one I always had a nurse's aide that would go in first to make sure the person was awake and wanted a visit from Santa or whatnot. And I went into a room, and in Michigan, you can't have rails on the beds in places like hospice. They've decided it was too confining, whatever. They passed a law against it. So all the beds go down to the floor, so when the people fall out of bed, they don't get hurt. So I went in. Again, it was another woman in end stages, and her husband was there, and her adult son. Only sure her bed was down by the floor, so I went in and I knelt down beside her. And I said, "How are you today?" And her husband says, "She's lost her ability to speak." And I said, "Okay, we'll sing." And I asked her, knowing he's going to answer, I said, "What's your favorite Christmas carol?" And he said, "Well, before she got sick, it used to be White Christmas." I'm not the world's greatest singer, but your ears don't bleed. So I began to sing White Christmas to her. When I reached the second verse and I looked down at her, she was mouthing the words with me. And one of my favorites was when I was probably in my third or fourth year of Santa. We'd come home from the children's mass. Well, I'll start at the beginning. There was a rental house down the street from us, across the street and down the block, that was one of the state assistance houses. So if you were on state assistance, you could rent that house. And there was a woman living there with two small children, a little boy that was in kindergarten and a little girl, preschool. And she came over, and these people, they must have been on the run from an abusive relationship or something like that, because they had nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. If the house hadn't come with furniture, they'd have been laying on the floor. Mm-hmm. So she came to my wife when I was at work and said, could she get a ride to the local UOW hall where they were passing out food, coats, hats, and mittens for Christmas? And we said, yeah. My wife said, sure, but no toys. So, all the time that Mrs. Claus and this woman are talking, Shasta, I remember her name, was looking at our Christmas tree. They didn't have a Christmas tree. And particularly one ornament just caught her eye. Wasn't even all that good looking ornament, but to her it was beautiful. So anyway, they went and they got that, and yeah, they got hats, mittens, coats, food, etc., but no toys. So after the children's mass, I was still sitting around, half the suit on, took my jacket off, but I was still pretty suited up. And my daughters and I, we were talking, and we were talking about that family down the street. The family that had nothing. And we couldn't let it go. So we got a bag, and we filled it with toys. I had some toys left over from a charity that I had done where they gave me the extra toys to give to somebody else. And I mean, they had nice toys with fancy baby dolls and did all kinds of stuff, and the big full-size Transformers and stuff like that.
Nice.
And my wife always keeps on hand coloring books, crayons, that kind of stuff. So we filled the bag up, and the last thing we put in there was the ornament from the tree. Now, I had never met the woman, but I put the pack on my shoulder and I walked down the street, and I knocked on her door. Everybody was in bed. There's nothing going on in their house, you know. There's no Christmas tree, there's no nothing. And she opened up the door and she looked at me, and it was like she'd been hit by a truck. She just stared for, a good 30 seconds. And then she said, oh, come in, come in. So I came in, she says, I'll get the children up. This was only like 7 o'clock at night, but if you don't have a TV, you don't have anything, then the kids go to bed. So she got them up. In the meantime, I opened up the bag, and I began laying out the toys. And the kids are squealing, and Mom's crying. And the last thing I took out of the bag, and I set on the end table there, was the ornament. I packed up my bag, and I walked out the front door and never said a word. Jacob was the boy's name. They moved away before the next Christmas. Like I said, I think they were on the run. But Jacob had made friends in the neighborhood, and he came back, and as a matter of fact, the people in the neighborhood would give me updates on Jacob. And the last update I got, the last time he visited the neighborhood, he was 18 years old now. But you know what? He still talks about the night Santa came to his house.
So thank you, Santa, once again for being with us, doing all these episodes with us. It was great hearing your stories and getting to learn a little bit about Saint Nick over the course of the Advent and Christmas season. Remember, Christmas, as we pointed out earlier, is not just one day. It is a whole season and will in fact go on beyond today until the Feast of the Epiphany. So make sure you enjoy your Christmas time.
See, and what I love about it, the Epiphany, is when Jesus was visited by the 3 wise men.
3. We don't really know how many, but we like 3. There's no written evidence of how many there were. You just know that we're wise men. But 3 is a good number.
You remember when you were pointing out that people shouldn't poke into small children's love of Santa Claus? This is the same principle. 3 wise men. Just
3
let
wise
it go.
men and a baby Jesus.
Just
No basis for either of them, but we're going to stick with them.
I know that I'm not a small child, but in many ways I am, so I need this. So just let me have it.
Okay, it's yours. There were 3. Have it from me.
So once again,
Merry Christmas, everybody. Still Merry Christmas.
By the way, 3 is the first prime number.
Ooh. Yeah. Gifts, charity, and math. Until next time,
remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.